The Oklahoma City Thunder watched their season come to an end in Game 7 against the San Antonio Spurs, and while many people, rightfully so, are talking about what this means for the Spurs and already getting ready to label Wemby the number one player in the league, which he's definitely earned. I can't wait to that NBA Finals. On today's episode, I want to talk about the offseason outlook for the Oklahoma City Thunder. Did Chet Holmgren truly get exposed? Is this something that he can grow from? And how many moves are coming this offseason for the Oklahoma City Thunder? We're going to talk about all that plus more right after this.
Welcome to the number one place for your daily basketball news and analysis, NBA Central.
What's going on, basketball fans? Welcome to another episode of NBA Central, your number one spot for everything basketball related. I'm the host there, Haize. More importantly, you guys can follow the channel at NBA Central Pod on every social media platform we happen to be on. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button too. We got a goal of getting to 10,000 subscribers by the start of the season. I know it's a very lofty and huge goal, but you got to set the goals high. Why set them low? Why set easily attainable goals? Let's actually push for something here. With that said, though, let's go ahead and get into it for today, y'all. And we are doing, as we've done with every team as they've gotten eliminated from the playoffs, an offseason outlook for all teams. We are basically done throughout most of the league in regards to it. So I want to talk about the Oklahoma City Thunder, and there are going to be a lot of thoughts on what the Thunder need to do. There's already been rumors started about the should they move on from Chet Holmgren after his showing. We'll talk a little bit about that and stuff like that. But overall, this is a Thunder team that, you know, the future is still very bright for them, right? Like, make no mistake about it. The way that, like, it feels like a transition of power from them to the Spurs, with the way that the Spurs handle them, beating them 4 out of 5 times in the regular season. They beat them 4 out of 7 times here in the postseason, and it feels like a natural transition. But this is where rivalries truly get started. And it feels like Wemby he welcomed this matchup, and his team won. And now the Thunder have to go back to the drawing board and figure out what they're going to have to do. So we're going to start off this. I want to start with the Chet part of it, right? Did Chet Holmgren really get exposed? Or are we overreacting to just a bad series and a bad matchup for Chet Holmgren, right? So the question here, of course, is did Wemby expose Chet in the Western Conference Finals? Or is the national reaction going a little bit too far? We had Kendrick Perkins, harsh reactions, all that type of stuff. I've had my own harsh reactions to it because watching this series, I think if people remember that the Chet and Wemby conversation, especially after Wemby came into the league, was like, oh, these two guys matching up. And at the end of the day, like, Wemby is just so head and shoulders above Chet. Like, Chet has not looked like that star. Like, he's a damn good player. Make no mistake about it. He's an all-star. He's a damn good player, all that type of stuff. But does Chet really look like a player that is like even the second best player on a championship team right now? We don't know. 4 points. Let's talk. And for those that are new to the channel, we talk about both sides of every argument. So I'm talking about Chet. Did he get exposed or not? We're going to talk about the side of yes. We're going to talk about the side of it being an overreaction. But on the side that he got exposed, 4 points in a Game 7, an elimination game to make it to the NBA Finals as your season being a first-time All-Star, it's absolutely unacceptable for the performance that Chet Holmgren put up last night. There is just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Any All-Star needs to be putting up better numbers, a better performance than what Chet Holmgren did in that game. There's just no question about it. I don't care the matchup that you're facing. You have to put up more points than 4. You have to take more than 2 shots. But hey, for what it's worth, Chet Holmgren and Isaiah Hartenstein only took a combination of 9 shots and then went 4 of 9 over that time period with 9 rebounds as well. Chet had 4. Now, Chet did have 2 blocks, 2 steals as well, but for the most part, Chet Holmgren had an absolute non-impact on that game. And of course, it's going to be people are going to look at you questionable, like you're looking funny in the light because of it. Wemby controlled that matchup physically, emotionally, and statistically. There's just no way around it. Stylistically, he did it as well. So, with OKC having their biggest rival now in the West being the San Antonio Spurs, and Wemby's going to be on that, Sam Presti's going to have a tough question to ask on what does that matchup look like truly long-term. Now, they have Thomas Sorber, who they drafted, who is a defensive-minded center, who we don't know exactly what he's going to be in the NBA yet, and maybe there's some side of the conversation there. We already kind of expect the Oklahoma City Thunder to move off of Isaiah Hartenstein and opt out of that deal to not have the huge tax bill that they're going to have. But it's legitimate reasons why it's Chet got exposed. Now, decide that it's an overreaction. Chet is still very, very young. He's extremely talented, and he's gonna still develop some as a player. Right now, if this series made you question Chet's long-term upside and the ceiling that he had as a player, if you previously viewed him as somebody who was going to be like one of the top 20 players in the league, maybe your opinion changes on that. Maybe top 20 is a little harsh. I don't know. But, in regards to that, there's there, right? But I think when you look at this as well, like this was a terrible series for Chet. It was a terrible series for him, and the matchup is there. But we've seen star players have teams that are just bad matchups and matchups that are just bad for them. In this Western Conference Final Series, he averaged 10 points on 51% shooting from the field, 27% shooting from three, with 7 rebounds, 1 block, and 1 steal. That's not enough. When you look at the 20 points per game he averaged against the Lakers and the 17 points per game he averaged against the Phoenix Suns, it just brings questions about like this matchup specifically. And typically, I don't want to get caught up in specific matchups because who knows who you're going to face off against the team again. But with this, 2 young teams in the Western Conference, it's fair to look at this matchup long-term and what that means for Chet, but he is still very young, right? I do think trading him too early could become a franchise-altering mistake as well if he does end up working on this. OKC's injuries were a thing. Jalen Williams was out, and I think that goes to both the side that you needed Chet to step up, but also the balance of this team. The answer with this is probably somewhere in the middle. You don't want to do a panic trade and do a trade of Chet because of that, but you absolutely have to reevaluate what his role is in the long-term thing in OKC because Wemby and the San Antonio Spurs are going to be here. You're going to probably match up with those guys a lot over the next 4 or 5 years. Now, I don't know if there's always going to be y'all in the Western Conference Finals, but that's going to be a matchup for you. So that's there, which brings us to the next question. A lot of people after last night are calling for the Oklahoma City Thunder to trade for Giannis Antetokounmpo. So let's talk about this, right? Of course, we know that the OKC Thunder have so many first-round picks that they have, and they have a salary that can match anybody. Technically, they could try to trade Lu Dort. They could try to trade Isaiah Hartenstein, and the Milwaukee Bucks can opt out of that. They can focus on the picks, a young player, whatever it is. But should the OKC Thunder package their assets to move for Giannis Antetokounmpo if Milwaukee does make him available, which is widely expected around the league? And here's the thing. The side of this of go get Giannis is that Giannis does give them a physical presence and force that they were just missing in this matchup against the San Antonio Spurs. That is one thing. If Giannis is going to be healthy and on the court, he's going to play physical. He's going to give them that matchup. He's going to play two-way basketball, all that type of stuff. You look at the matchup between him and Shai and SGA. I know that the Thunder already lack shooting, but would that work? There's reason to believe that it would, right? OKC has the picks, they have the contracts, and they have the young talent that they can outbid anyone. I know we just talked about Chet and getting exposed in this series, but if you're the Milwaukee Bucks and the Oklahoma City Thunder do realistically offer Chet for Giannis and all the picks that they won't offer all the picks, but with all the picks that they have, is that not instantly the best offer? Especially for a Milwaukee Bucks team that already has trouble attracting talent. Yeah, Chet is flawed and stuff, but you know what? You don't have Wemby in the West. You don't have Wemby in the East, so the Milwaukee Bucks wouldn't have to worry about the Chet-Wemby matchup as much as the OKC Thunder would. So the West is only going to get tougher. Wemby isn't going away, and so if you really want to get tough with that, maybe the trade for Giannis makes some sense. But I'm on this side, the other side of the argument. You don't blow up your core yet. Not after one bad series, after you won the finals last year, and you were one game away from going to the finals. You just won a title. You have an elite youth foundation there that's just ridiculous. And Giannis does change the style that you play with. He changes the spacing, and he changes the long-term salary cap implication as well. Trading Chet plus assets could end up shorting your window instead of extending it, especially with Giannis being 31 years old. Sam Presti has built this slowly over time, consistently, and has been very patient about it. I do think that Presti has to make the call, at least make the call without emotion and see if he's truly available at the right price. But you take the meeting, but if it costs you too much to gut your roster and your assets, and I think you may be better off playing with patience in that regard, and that's my thing. Now, all of this as well, after yesterday, Shai said he has zero input in what Sam Presti is going to do, that he wants zero input on it. Now, is this does he need to be more hands-on, right? What's the side of you when it comes down to this? I think that Sam Presti has gotten you here, and he's made the decisions that's gotten you here. So I think Shai's handling this perfectly. It shows that you trust your front office. It shows that, it keeps pressure off teammates and them feeling like, hey, the SGA kind of just throw us out or whatever. And it avoids creating public trade drama, and it reinforces that the OKC Thunder culture that we've seen built here. And it's the right way for Shai to play here, right? Now, on the other side of this, I do think stars naturally have some say, right? Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is a two-time MVP. He is, in a lot of ways, the franchise. His prime right now is the timeline of the OKC Thunder. And if they're going to make massive decisions, I do think they're going to reach out to him on his perspective, but it doesn't mean that he's out there dictating, saying, hey, go out and get this guy, go and trade this guy. And, I do think that you see stars around the league have a lot of influence on what their teams do in the roster decisions, but how often does that really work out, right? This is why Shai's respected, and this is why Shai is different than some stars. He is not ducking responsibility, but he's also letting the front office do their job and allowing that to focus on he's leading on the court. It's their job to go out and get the groceries. I think that's what you have to look at, right? But that leads us to the next set of situations that the Oklahoma City Thunder have to ask themselves this offseason. Lu Dort, Cason Wallace, the rotation, right? So let's start with Lu Dort, right? Did he play himself off the OKC Thunder's roster this offseason? Keep in mind, Lu Dort, the Thunder can opt out of his contract and they can walk away for clean, for nothing. They can walk out of that deal. Also, because it is a contract that does have that option, a team option. With that said, could it be that the Oklahoma City dump him off to another team? Lu Dort is still an amazing defender in what he's able to do and how he elevates a team's defense right away. And with teams looking for wing defense, and Lu Dort can guard multiple positions at that, whether he's on the free agent market or the OKC Thunder say, hey, if anybody wants to trade for this Lu Dort contract, we're open business for trading the $18 million expiring contract with the team option on this final year. They can do that. And that they would be within their right to do that. And I do think with the series that Lu Dort had, and he's one of the players as well that kind of got exposed as this series went on, the Thunder are right to maybe explore that. And that's the type of moves that I do expect Sam Presti to really look into, is what do you do with Lu Dort? Like, were you already thinking about opting out? I know the stat sheet, he's not a stat sheet darling, but much like Alex Caruso and stuff, the stat sheet's never going to really give everything that Lu Dort did. But for what it's worth, 4 points per game in this Western Conference Final Series, and the defensive impact wasn't necessarily there. They could look to move off of him. And I think that's a realistic option that they have to look out for as well. But Dort still matters, right? He's one of the tone setters for this Oklahoma City Thunder team, and playoff shooting slumps happen. You don't overreact to just one series, and that's where Sam Presti has to have a level head about it, I think, overall, right? Lu Dort is not the problem by himself, and I don't want to paint it as that. But the Thunder do have to address how they find answers to the problem. And you probably now, if you have an opportunity to find more natural shooting around there, you got to find that out, right? And that's where it comes down to the Cason Wallace part of it. Do you extend Cason Wallace right now? Do you wait to the end of the season? Do you trade him and let another team get the asset? Because Cason Wallace is a player that I think is really ready to break out. I think he is capable of more than what we've seen from him because he plays this role here. I mean, you look at the elimination game, 17 points, 6 of 10 shooting. We already know what he can do defensively as well. Cason Wallace could be one of those players that if you do trade a Lu Dort, for example, and he grows in his role, that he can give you even more back than what you're getting from Cason Wallace right now. But that's another question that they are going to have to find the answer to in regards to it. But the overarching thing for all of this with the OKC Thunder comes down to this one thing. The second tax apron is a problem. And it's a problem that the Oklahoma City Thunder are only going to be able to avoid for so long. They're going to have to answer it. I have proposed this thing before, that if the Thunder won the title this season and we're on and then we're going for a three-peat, would ownership then say, hey, we're willing to pay the second tax apron so we can give it another go, see if we can win 3 in a row, but with no changes to this roster. That's no changes, right? And that's them also picking up the option. They're $28 million over the second tax apron. And that is a big thing that's there. That's a huge question that's there that you got to overlook, right? So how much can you keep this core together while still navigating that second tax apron? Chet Holmgren, Jalen Williams, max extensions, they're about to change what you look at with the OKC Thunder and their financial ability. You look, Jalen Williams, $41.2 million. Same contract for Chet Holmgren. You got $40 million going to Shai. That's over $120 million to just those 3 players. Then you look at how, as their salaries increase, how much more that becomes about. So, $120 million between those 3 players, it's hard for anybody to navigate that. Isaiah Hartenstein, his $28.5 million team option is a massive domino that could fall this offseason. And with Cason Wallace being extension eligible, you got to look at there. Of course, OKC Thunder have draft picks, but they don't have unlimited roster spots. So already the Oklahoma City Thunder are going to have probably more draft picks than what they have roster spots coming in. And that faces another tough question for this OKC Thunder team. We know the financial situation is there, but this is a team that did win, right? and they won for a long time, and they won at a very high level this season. But the second tax apron is a huge reality that is going to limit so much of what you can do with combining salaries and all that type of thing. And I don't know if Sam Presti is going to want to deal with that when it comes down to it. So when you look at the key roster decisions for the Thunder in this offseason, Isaiah Hartenstein's $28.5 million team option, this is a huge one. If they exercise the option, it's going to lock them into the second tax apron. If they can trade his contract, not take much salary back, they can get below that, right? If they opt out of it, they can not be in that second tax apron. But then you still have Cason Wallace's extension, which could put you right back, even if you do opt out of Isaiah Hartenstein's contract, right back walking that tightrope between the first and second tax apron, right? And then Lu Dort and Jared McCain both. These guys were both really big parts of the Thunder's rotation as the season went on. And you're going to have to navigate you may have to decide between those two players as well. And then you have the draft pick thing. They have the 12th overall and the 17th overall. And we've already heard they could be looking to package those to move up in this draft. If they're able to do that in a very loaded draft on top of all of that, with a loaded roster, that could be exactly what you need. What makes you feel comfortable opting out of Isaiah Hartenstein, trading Lu Dort, because you can get a damn good talent in this draft, either at 12 and 17 if they decide to keep it, or if they decide to move on from it, they can do those things as well. The mindset of this franchise and Sam Presti is going to be hugely important with what they do this offseason. The Thunder have enough assets to find the answer to these questions with what they already have. How they do that, that's going to be the part about navigating this offseason that's going to be fun to watch with this OKC Thunder team. So I want to hear from you guys on this one. How do you feel about the Thunder? How do you feel about Chet and what the Thunder have to do with their roster? Would you move Chet Holmgren after this series? Would you hold on to him, move some other pieces? What do you think is the right answer and the balance here for the OKC Thunder? Do you think they can package their picks and move into the top 5 or top 10 with those picks? Let me know what you guys think on all that down below. This is going to be one of the more interesting situations to watch because of how good they already are and the talent that they have here, and we'll see. So drop your thoughts down below. Should OKC Thunder stay patient, or is it time for a franchise-altering move for the Thunder this offseason? Make sure you guys like the video, subscribe to the channel as well, hit that notification bell so you never miss an episode. You can follow us at NBA Central Pod. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, NBACentralPod@gmail.com. And lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-270-2799. We're the #1 spot for everything basketball and NBA related. And I'll catch you guys the next time I feel like making a video. Probably tomorrow. Peace out.
Been a presentation of the Breaks Media.